I would like to thank Mayor Scott or Mayor Maddaision or Mayor Scott Maddaision.
Mayor Scott's
joining.
fine.
Pardon?
Mayor Scott's fine.
Mayor Scott, okay. Would like to thank Mayor Scott for joining us today. Some of us have better access to information as to what's going on than others do. I'm stuck here in my stepdaughter's former bedroom and with no contact much with the outside world except when I get to visit with you guys. So I'm very interested with what he has to say about what's going on in our community, how this whole thing is affecting our community, and hopefully some ways that we can help our neighbors at this time. So without saying too much more, Mayor Scott, please take it away.
Thank you very much. The landscape is quite different since I spoke to you guys last time, which was only about 2 months ago. Starting off, I never thought that running for mayor and getting elected, I would have to deal with a global pandemic to start, but we're making do, and we're doing the best we can to keep everybody safe. I was trying to, on the computer there, trying to find the guidance from the governor. I didn't get to hear all of it. So a little bit, she just announced that restaurants and gyms will begin at 50% occupancy starting. Mary Wolf said Thursday, but I thought the governor said May 1st on the beginning of her press conference. So we'll have to we'll make a formal announcement, obviously, about that stuff so that we can get things back going.
It was May 1st.
That's what I thought, May 1st, yeah. So I saw 3 emails come across from folks, can I open? So I need to get a little more guidance before we make a formal announcement on exactly what can open. It's been an interesting time, just like some of all of you. We've had to make some tough decisions about personnel, who's essential, who's not essential. Our biggest focus was we wanted to make sure that we were providing the same level of service to our citizens that we were before this pandemic started. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that. Our solid waste and all those places, we're able to continue working as normal, which was good, so we don't get a backlog there. I think finance is where the city ourselves got hit a little bit the hardest, as we didn't have folks in the office and people weren't able to come in and make payments. Our call log got backed up a little bit. There was at one point when we had 50 or 60 calls backed up that we had to bring folks in to answer. So we last week on Monday, we kind of started bringing more folks back on a rotational basis because we felt our level of service needed to be a little bit higher during this time. So we did that. We started bringing some folks back to Park and Rec because some of the parks, even though they're closed, they need their grass cut and all of those things. So we started doing that. I think the safety side has been extremely important as well. Hats off to our firefighters and our police department, doing an excellent job, enforcing the proclamation that the governor and myself have put out. They're doing a great job of keeping the community safe. I know we had a couple positive cases. Obviously, Captain Raymakers. I don't know if all of you saw his video. Very awesome of him to put that out there. And fortunate enough that our community and really the county, we haven't had a lot of positive cases throughout the county, or not as much as some of our neighboring counties. That being said, with some of our stuff opening up and Scott County not being one of the places that's opening up, I think that is a cause for concern for us. So I think as you're opening your businesses and as you're going out, we still want to take those proper precautions to limit the community spread, because I would expect that we would get an influx of folks from other counties that are closed as we're going forward. I mean, we've had some from Illinois. I think the governor shut their state down, the stay-at-home order, till the end of May. So not something we haven't seen, but something we need to be cognizant about. I think everybody obviously wants to get back to normalcy. That's a big thing. I've received a lot of emails from citizens with a lot of different ideas and a lot of things. So I welcome that. I have responded to every single person. I think it's important that folks have a voice, and if they can do that through me, that's great. So that's been really nice to see that people are engaged and they actually pay attention and they care about the community, because I think sometimes people get lost in translation, and we don't want that. We want to make sure everybody's engaged and they're getting the proper information. That's why we started doing the weekly COVID briefings on Thursday. I think we've been able to reach thousands of folks in our community by the number that have tuned in. We've had some really good guests on there to give information that's extremely pertinent to as far as the school districts. And Michelle Cullen came on to talk about what public health is doing to kind of help the community. And all of those, you can go to the City of Clinton's YouTube page, and you can kind of go back and review all those and watch them if you missed any of them to get some of that information. Obviously, things are going to be changing as we're starting to open up, but we want to make sure that we're staying on top of everything. It's been interesting as far as coordination, being in the mayor spot. Been in contact with the governor's office and her team regularly to make sure that we're up to date on information that's coming out, and I try to blast that information out as quickly as possible when they share that. Working with emergency management, who's done a really awesome job of getting personal protective equipment for a lot of places in town here. Chance and his team have done a really nice job there. And I think the biggest coordination was I've talked a lot with Mercy, just in regards to their level of PPE, what they're doing to make sure they can limit the spread, and they can isolate and take care of the folks that are positive. I do think from talking to a lot of people, as the Test Iowa thing gets going and we get a testing site on this side of the state, I do believe that we're going to see more positive cases than what we have currently here. I think our low numbers could be a little bit limited just because of how much testing we've done. Obviously, there's a lot of folks out there that can carry the virus that don't know they have it or have no symptoms. So I think be ready, even as we get back going, that we're going to see some spikes here and there in certain areas. I know as far as the city goes, we want to get back to normal routine as quickly as we possibly can. And again, we're waiting on the governor's guidance there to make sure we're doing it in the proper way. I don't see any other restrictions being placed on the city at this moment. We're just hoping that we can kind of lift some of those and get back to the way things were before we started this. And the last thing I really want to touch on before I'll let anybody ask questions if they have any is I've gone out. I'm guilty. I forgot my mask once or twice, because it's not a normal thing to grab your mask before you go out to the grocery store or something like that. But I've been doing my best to make sure I have that on anytime I'm out, and I really do. I see a lot of folks that are out that are following that and wearing the mask and staying safe and trying to stay 6 feet away from each other. I do wish that some businesses would have their frontline workers that would follow that, just because I worry about the safety of all those folks that are at the grocery stores and things like that. I know there's a lot of talk about when we can open, and we're going to open as soon as we can. So if people are asking, that's the best answer that I can give at this moment. As soon as we can open, we're going to open, but we're going to do it in the right way, because we want to make sure everybody is safe. So that's really the insight that I have at the moment. Is there anybody that has any questions about the city and what we're doing? Letting me off easy.
Cheryl Fry. What about our nursing homes? Have you been in contact with any of them? I haven't heard much about our local nursing homes.
Sure. We had one positive case at the Alverno. It was an employee And I reached out to them this morning, and I haven't heard. I think that was on Friday when they announced it, or Thursday. Reached out this morning, waiting to kind of see what their plan is on that going forward, because obviously that's been a big issue across the state, is outbreaks in those nursing homes, and we don't want that to happen at all in our community. So hopefully we won't see that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
How about our first responders? Do you have adequate personal protection equipment for police and fire personnel?
Yes, we do. The fire department is set up pretty well as far as PPE goes. They've been using a lot more than what the police department has. The police department has kind of changed their response in a way. Emergency calls, they're getting out there right away. They're making sure they have the PPE on and they're doing their job. The non-emergency stuff, they're kind of taking a different approach, and they're trying to stay a little bit further away as they're dealing with those, to not use up some of the PPE stock that they have if it's possible. So they've been really cognizant of that, just to kind of hold on to some of that stuff so that they're not running through their stash real quickly.
Scott, I was driving on Riverfront yesterday and noticed a lot of teenagers congregating and not social distancing. Are the police making a run by there on a periodic basis? Or I know it's difficult, but it just made me cringe when I saw them all.
Yes, I agree. I've seen some of that as well. I've driven up there. They are making passes. Obviously, there's emergency calls and things that they have to tend to. So they're heading up there. They're trying to break up groups. Technically, we could give citations to folks or fines if they're doing that, because it's against the order. We're trying to avoid that. We don't want to cause a lot of negativity and things by doing things like that. It's a tool if they need to. But I think a lot of them, when they've tried to break up these groups, they've been pretty receptive. But you are right. The teenager groups, I think, have been, I guess, the worst at congregating in those areas. And I think it's because they miss being in school. They miss their friends. They miss being there. So.
Scott, I was told that when we see that on Riverfront, we can report it to the police.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I have another question. What has surprised you the most about your job?
Oh, there's been a good amount of things. I think the number one thing that surprised me going in was the amount of involvement in the whole county that you have. You think, I guess for a little bit, I thought, you run for mayor, you're mayor of Clinton, you deal with Clinton and you're there. But there are a lot of things at the county level that you're involved in that are very important. I think so. That has been the biggest surprise for me so far. I'm sure there'll be more along the way.
Well, you're doing a great job.
I appreciate it. My goal is to give citizens the information, be completely transparent, make sure they understand what's going on, and then work together, because this isn't my community, it's all of our community, and I think everybody needs a voice in moving forward.
Scott, this
Yes.
is Jennifer Graff. This is Jennifer Graff. I'm phoned in. I didn't face in today. I just wanted to thank you for all the efforts you have made on behalf of transparency and inclusion. And I think the city of Clinton is better for it. I don't see a lot of angst and worry because you have been so open, and having your meetings on Thursday, I think, has been very helpful for the community. You're doing a great job.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Scott, is there anything that we can do as a club or as individual community members to support what's what you're trying to do in the community and areas of need that we can assist?
Yeah, I think right now, obviously, just day to day following the guidelines and making sure we're being safe is important. As a club, I think promoting the Clinton County Development Association, they've got, I guess you'd say, a charity open right now for donations where it's local money that goes to local people. So I think that would be a really good thing to promote at this time, just because there are a lot of folks out there that have been displaced from work and things like that, and might need some help along the way. And even as we get back going, there's probably folks that are going to need some help even after that. So I think that's a very noble cause, and it's really nice to see local people helping local people.
Scott, I know the census was supposed to have a big push this month, and then obviously this virus is throwing it off. And I know there's been an extension, but any plans by the city to give that second push on the census when things settle down?
Absolutely. The census, obviously, is extremely important. Last week, we were just under 54% reported in the city of Clinton. And I did have someone ask me that, just to clarify. Someone thought we had 54% of the people that have responded. Well, that's not it. This is to count people. It's 54% of residences that have counted. I do know that we just resent out everything to the landing, because that got missed. So we sent everything to them. So that will help. Hopefully everybody there responds. That'll help our numbers. But yes, we want to make a big push, because that is important for funding and important for a lot of things in our community. So, and just being accurate, we want to know how many people are here. We want to know how many people we serve, because I think that's important. So we're going to continue to push that. I try to announce it every week on the COVID briefing, every city council meeting. So we'll continue to make that push. Yeah.
Well, I think that's one area where the Rotary could really help. We represent a lot of different areas in the city. So I think anything that you could send out to us that we could send out to our employees and things, and shoot out when you decide you're going to make that real second push. At least from the Clinton schools, we'll certainly get that out and see if we can get as accurate of numbers as possible. To me, 54% sounds low.
I agree. We started at the beginning of March when you could fill it out. So I was hoping we'd be at least by 75 or 80 by now, but we're above the national average. The national average, I think, was 48%. We were at 54, almost 55, and the state average was a little bit higher than us. I think about 56 or 57. So we're above average as far as the nation goes, but still not perfect. And I'd like to be perfect if we could.
Scott, this is Steve Howes. We've been reading more about warm weather and heat, it's beneficial to be outside versus inside. Is there any permitting or ordinance changes that we need to do to incentivize the restaurants to create or expand their outdoor seating that we need to work on?
I don't know if we need to work on ordinances per se. There could be something. I haven't looked into anything like that. But I think that's a very good idea to push something like that.
Just a way to help expand the seating and also bring people back to the restaurants in more of a safer manner.
I will look into that, because I think that's a really great idea.
Anything else for Mayor Scott?
Yeah. Is Eagle Point going to be reopening?
I didn't get a chance to go all the way through the guidance today. My knowledge is parks have not been opened yet by the governor. I know that was one of the last things we closed, because I really didn't want to do it. I felt like that's a place where people can kind of unwind a little bit, but kind of like the riverfront, we had too many folks congregating. At this moment, Eagle Point will have to stay closed until the governor lifts the parks order.
I have to say, I really appreciate your conference on Thursday. When Mr. DeLacy was on there, it gave me so much reassurance that we're all in this together. We're not alone. And I look forward to it every Thursday. So thank you for that leadership.
No problem.
Hey, Mayor Scott, is the campground down at Riverfront, is that open?
It is not open. There are a couple folks there, and the reason in the order that the governor set forth, essential workers were allowed to stay in those areas. We have our camp hosts that we let stay there just because we wanted them to be able to monitor it. We thought that was important. And then we had one essential worker, a nurse up at Mercy, who is a traveling nurse, and she was there, so we let her stay as well. We've been directing folks to the Royal Pines, the trailer court out on Highway 30. They've been receptive to allowing folks to hook up there on some of their empty lots. Obviously, they have some fees and things like that. I don't know what they are, but we try to do our best to accommodate those folks that still needed the space.
Thanks, Scott.
Sue, I just want to know how many, if we keep in compliance with social distancing, how many people can we get on your boat, keeping them all 6 feet apart?
Well, Idell held it for us last year. We could probably be 6 feet apart and have 12 of us. How about that? I doubt we're going to be able to go for it, though. We'll all get out for a boat ride yet this summer. I guarantee it.
We might have a new meeting site.
Sounds good to me.
Anything else?
Mayor, I did have one quick question about what is the city doing to work with the Lumber Kings and trying to advocate to keep minor league baseball here?
Yeah, absolutely. I've done a good amount as far as that goes. Obviously, Ted is working his butt off to do everything he can to lobby and get after that. So we thank that. I joined the mayor's task force, which is, I think it's over 130 mayors throughout the United States now that are on this task force, and to kind of make that push to our legislators in the national level, and then also to Major League Baseball to not cut, not just Clinton, but all of the teams that they have on the chopping block currently. The other things we've done, I sent letters to Senator Ernst and Senator Grassley. I've heard back from both of them. We wanted to make sure that they understood that Clinton, obviously we want to keep our team. We did a resolution at the 2 council meetings ago. We did a resolution stating that we wanted the Lumber Kings to stay around, which just goes on record as the council supporting whatever we sign or whatever we do to continue to lobby to Major League Baseball. So we've done that. And then obviously just trying to post as much as I can about everything on social media so that folks can get behind it, because we really want to keep it. And the last thing, I invited Senator Grassley and Senator Ernst. We invited them to a ball game, so hopefully we're going to have one this year, because I'd really like for both of them to hopefully make some time and come out just to see the stadium and the community and all the involvement we have in the team, because I think it will give them even a greater perspective of how important it is to our community.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. Well, we'll let the good mayor off the hook. Thank you all for your very, very good questions. Shane, thank you for bringing one up about the Lumber Kings. Something near and dear to the hearts of several people in this call. Jill, can we arrange to get a book over to the mayor's office so that he can sign that and we can get that to the library?
Absolutely.
That would be great. Mayor, thank you so much for your time. Please remember, folks, as the mayor pointed out, that you can assist your neighbors through the Clinton County Development Association. Is that correct, Mayor?
Did I have that wrong? I may have the name wrong. If you go to the emergency management page, Clinton County Development Association doesn't sound right.
Well, we'll go to the emergency management page.
They have a link on there.
We'll send an email out to all of our membership that that this is a way that they can help their neighbors, help our community.
It's facilitated through United Way, is who it is. So you could even go there. That would have a link too.
Correct. Well, we'll get that out to all of our members in an email here shortly. Thank you for joining us today. And for the club, let me see. Thank me for not having invocation. Thank me for not having song. Thank Jill for greeting everybody as they came on. And let's, if we can, let's close today's meeting with the four-way test. I'll lead off and you can all shout out at the same time because you all truly believe in the four-way test and live it every day. So, of the things we think, say, or do, first, is it the truth?
Truth.
Yeah. Good going. Good job, Cora. Second, is it fair to all concerned?
To all concerned.
Third, will it build goodwill
and
better
better
friendship?
friendship.
Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? I usually like to end by saying go forth and connect the world, but stay safe and connect the world. Stay healthy and connect the world. And it's wonderful seeing all your faces. Meeting adjourned. See you again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.